Oklahoma City is the capital of Oklahoma, located to the southwest of Missouri. The saddest side of Oklahoma City is the huge metal gate in remembrance of the victims of the terrorist attack of April 19, 1995, and the symbolic empty abstract metal chairs, 168 of them. That's how many died in the explosion, and 19 of those were children. The flowers on the memorial never fade. The relatives and the city inhabitants will never forget that horror. At 9:01 in the morning, due to an explosion, the Murrah building, housing a health center, was almost entirely annihilated. The deranged religious fanatic Timothy McPhee had filled a small truck with homemade explosives, detonated it, and walked away. He was caught only years later, identified by the chassis number of the truck. Later, after making a full confession, he was sentenced to death and executed. The industrial city was originally settled on an expansive oil field. More than 2,000 oil wells are in operation in the surrounding area, but the oil city of the prairie is transforming into more and more of a tourist target. On April 22, 1889, the central part of Oklahoma was also opened for white settlers. Tens of thousands gathered at the border with covered wagons. At noon, the great land rush began. During the first years, the pioneers forced the Indians back to smaller and smaller areas, and they then started cattle breeding. Oklahoma's first oil well, put into operation in April 1897, is proudly on display even today. In 1904, the engineers found petroleum and natural gas in huge quantities, and from this time, cows had to share their pastures with nodding oil wells. Stanley Kramer's film entitled Oklahoma Crude, starring George C. Scott, is about these good old times. The area also inspired the world-famous musical composers Rodgers and Hammerstein. Their piece Oklahoma was one of the hits of Broadway for a long period. Lynn Riggs, their lyricist, was born in nearby Claremore. His house is a museum today. Nearby, the Davis Gun Museum exhibits one of the largest weapon collections in the world. Even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there, said Will Rogers, the actor, humorist, and philosopher known for his numerous quotes and humor similar to that of Mark Twain, and whose birthplace 20 kilometers to the west of Claremore is a real place of pilgrimage even today. The famous Route 66 used to be one of the major federal highways. It connected Chicago to Los Angeles and crosses most of the United States. The 2,448-mile-long way, also called America's Highway, traversed the country from 1926 to 1985. Nowadays, it brings back scenes of Steinbeck, Kerouac, and the Easy Riders America as a living monument.